Welcome, punters. Another week of Tipster. And Mick, what's going on, mate? How's the spring going for you so far?
Mate, got off to a pretty good start, just chipping away day by day. It's all happening, mate. We've got a few earthquakes around at the moment, and it's all happening, mate. Earthquakes, tradies, and winners.
Yeah, it's all happening. They're blowing everywhere. But hey, what an exciting week, and we're at that point of the year which I really love, Mick. It's where we have Friday night racing again, Moya Stakes, Moonee Valley. Then we're off to Sandown for the Underwood. We've got footy finals on the weekend. And of course, the Golden Rose, and we're back to Rosehill. So it's all good.
Yeah, it caught me by surprise there on Monday when I saw at Rosehill. I was expecting either a Ramwick or a Campbell to move there, but no, it's great to see back at Rosehill. So PVL at his best.
Yeah, all good. Very exciting times. Hey, great episode again this week. Some really great stuff here. Look, punters, if you're looking to know whose horse racing tips are flying, this is where you want to come each week right through spring. We're starting off with Tipsters of the week. Mick, we're going to look at the media tipsters, and we're going to look at the Twitter tipsters. So those punters who are on Twitter, are going to give them a rap. Plenty of them.
Plenty of them, mate.
Yep. And how about our tipster in focus, Mick?
Yeah, we got Mick Wallace. He's arguably probably the in-form tipster. Media tipster in Australia, so we've got him on for a short but sweet chat as well.
Yeah, certainly the Viscount of value, living up to that term every day. And we've got a really interesting How Do You Punt This? How Do You Punt series going pretty good. Getting some great interaction there on Twitter. If you're not on Twitter, join. If you are, look out for the posts, some good chat. This week we're looking at speed maps, a real interesting topic. Some don't even go near them. Some punters live by them, and some are, use them in various ways. So we're going to get a bit of an insight into how.
Yeah, we had our old mate Wayne Hawkes absolutely poo-poo speed maps not so long ago. So I'd be interested to see what sort of feedback we get about that.
Yeah, look, we want to hear it all. I mean, we want to hear it all. Whether you love them, hate them, don't use them, whatever they are, whatever your view is, we want to hear it. And why is it a great time to come to thegreattipoff.com at the moment, Mick?
Oh, mate, we've got everything. Mate, just today we've thrown out a great harness sort of set from Dame Thorogood, which is awesome. You'll miss that, but you better catch that next week, guys. But in regards to this week, we've got the Moya preview coming up from BSO, Underwood. Josh Reed's chiming in with a Golden Rose. Have the early market movers, which usually provide a couple of winners there. And most importantly, interested to see BSO's layers. Usually throw someone under the bus there. So pretty keen to see who's next victim.
The most courageous layer in Australia, without any doubt at all.
Jeez, mate, you think Wayne Carey might have something to say about
that? Okay, moving on. So look, as always, subscribe so you never miss one of these shows. We've got some great shows coming up too, a live broadcast as we get closer to the big races. It's all going to happen. Subscribe on YouTube here. You can go through the chapters, all that stuff. Hang around for a great show. It's coming up.
Let's go.
All right, so as always, we look at and see who is running hot, which horse racing tips are flying and who's behind them. And look, we're going to start, Mick, we find that punters are really interested in those flying recently. So we've run the numbers for the last 7 days to really see who's flying, who's had a big week, and that's up to last Sunday. And look, this is the list. Mick, I reckon you can talk to the guy at the top.
Yeah, Mark Porsche, good to see him at the top there, mate. Lovely gentleman. Did some feature articles for us or some writing Melbourne best bets for us a couple of years back, and top bloke, can find a winner. He also runs a group on Facebook. It's got thousands and thousands of followers that sort of on the punt or something similar. Sorry, apologies, Mark, if I've got that wrong. But that's great for racing. People like that can bring up these groups and allow people to get amongst it and talk about the game. It's just awesome. So shout out for that, Mark. That's a huge effort, but not just that. The effort on Saturday, very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mark has contributed to the site as well too. Made some great contributions over the years. Next in line, Josh Shields, very popular on Twitter. So again, all these guys are on, guys and girls actually are on Twitter. So you'll see him there and do tip on the site. So Josh Shields puts his tips out, and I'll tell you what, he's certainly a popular boy, and this might explain why he got about an 8-leg multi up, 7-leg actually, on the weekend, sort of an each way multi and a few legs into one there. Very elegant, I think, was his only standout win. But, you know, Heresy, Lightsaber, Montefilia, Malloy, Nature Strip, very elegant. And of course, Sierra Sue there flashing home at the end would have absolutely, there's no value on it, but I'm sure he's eating lobster this week instead of, you know, milk, meat and potatoes. That's
what are you suggesting, mate?
Oh, look, I'm suggesting unlike what Salt's told us, I don't think he changes the cuisine, or Davo changes the cuisine. So that's the example I'm talking about.
Love it. No, just stirring you out. Good on you, Joshy. That's super. And who we got next up, mate?
Next up, we've
bit of a tongue twister there.
Yeah, look, we've got the Velvet Court. Bagheera Hanso. He's been on the side for a while. So, look, done well there. 23 tips, 105% pot. And the Velvet Court, aka Amy Evans, WA racing enthusiast who's been involved in the industry now for about 5 years with horse ownership. Owned a number of horses, 30 winners, including 2 Group 3s. So certainly doing some good things there. The Velvet King, which is her alias, was one of the horses she owns, and also an owner of Clairvoyance, part owner in Clairvoyance. Has had to overcome some challenges and kicking goals in the industry.
Up you go, Amy. That's awesome. Love that.
Yeah, so certainly a good story there. And Mitchy Lucas.
Mate, he almost hit the card, I reckon, the other day. Maybe not the card as such, but I think he had probably 11 or 12 tips, and he's chimed in with 10 winners. So he's had an absolute fill up on Saturday. And look, you know, man to my own heart, old Mitch, he loves the analysis side of things. He loves the speed maps and the video replays, pattern recognition, all that kind of stuff. So keep up the good work, mate. Love that.
Yeah, and look, there's a few here that really have some great analysis and homework that they're doing. I mean, Josh Shields is another one there who's looking at patterns and so forth. So look out for these 5 people at thegreattipoff.com. You can search for their name and you'll find them. And now for the media tipsters. So top 5 last 7 days. Who's the bloke at the top there, Mick?
No shock to see Mick Wallace at the top there, mate. We'll touch on that a bit later and have a chat with him, but definitely no surprises to see him up the top there, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, one thing I should have pointed out, we're using cash profit again. Remember, it's a good way to really, show those who are tipping more and still performing. So that's why we picked that one here. Greg Splitter, we mentioned him last week. He's had another big week, tipping God knows where, everywhere in the country. 58 tips, 22% strike rate, $6.17 average price. Shane Montgomery, I mean, he's a hard-working analyst if I've ever seen one. RSN, he's done his column in the Sydney Morning Herald for years. Monty's column rates the runners and shows who's overs and so forth. Ian Humphreys there with the tab, and the bloke there just seems to always pop up. Sultan.
Just another shock, eh? Another week, another leaderboard.
Yeah, we just tell the guys to just leave the salt there somewhere. It's just a matter of where he shifts in the top 5, I think.
Love it. What a legend. Man of the people. Up you go, Salts.
So there we have it, guys. There's guys and girls, 10 form analysts traveling really, really strongly. Big week. Look, doesn't always happen, but normally that means there's a roll on. So look out for these names across Twitter and at thegreattipoff.com. Okay, our tipster in focus this week, Mick, what do you say? I mean, he's probably one of the most popular form analysts, I would say, at least in the Twitter sphere at the moment, and if not wider. Who are we talking to, Mick?
Mate, his stocks are rising quickly. We're going to I went one-on-one with Mick Wallace earlier in the week, so we're going to have a chat with him and see what he's got to say, how he's pointing us into winners.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's see what he's got to say.
Let's go. Hey, punters, we're lucky enough to be joined by arguably probably Australia's most informed tipster in Mick Wallace. Thanks for joining us, Mick.
Hello, Michael. How are you?
Mate, very well. Very well. Mate, you've been in great form, mate. And obviously, as part of the Great Tip-Off team, we are well aware of your ability to pick a long price winner. But, mate, over the past month in September to date, mate, we've had Eves Miss $12, Madison Point $10, started at 26s. My Blue Jeans $26. I'm just going to keep going on here. Aesop's Fable $33. Jamaica 18 and Wahiki Island. You might be able to buy an island after all these. $31, mate. Give us a bit of a rundown of how you found all these winners, buddy.
Look, always looking for value, but I suppose the name of the game is trying to find winners first and foremost. So I wouldn't say I go at it with a preconceived idea to try and find long price winners, but always looking for those horses that perhaps are a little bit overlooked by the market, and if you can sort of pick a little bit of a mistake there, you can get that edge.
Mate, it's outstanding. And we noticed you've been chiming in on Twitter a fair bit more of late. Is that something we can see, a bit more of? Obviously, the people fans on Twitter are growing, and I heard you had a Facebook page, a manly section of Mick Wallace Facebook page pop up as well, mate. Have you seen a bit more of this in the future?
Yeah, look, I always like getting on Twitter and sharing. I love doing the form first and foremost. Just I love sinking my teeth into it each and every day. So, working for Sky Racing, I'm only too happy to sort of pass on my thoughts onto Twitter and get them out there. I've been a little bit overwhelmed over the last couple of weeks, to be honest. My Twitter followers have doubled overnight, so it doesn't feel as if I'm doing anything different. But just get a little bit of exposure the last couple of weeks, and there's obviously some interest out there, so I'll continue to put my tips out.
Mate, your stocks are growing. It's be good for the next pay negotiations.
Well, that's right. Yeah, exactly right. But that long price winners is something that I've always tried to find if they're there to be found. You like to always back a winner at a big price. It's always a big thrill, and I think with Aesop's favour winning the Dubbo Cup, I think there must have been a few eyes on that race. That was certainly a good result.
Super stuff, mate. Yeah, and look, as we know, there's been more than just in September. There's been plenty of great months prior to that. Mate, just on the Twitter stuff, we see you've been using the Crowcaster app or system there. How's that been going for you?
Oh, it's great, because I'm a bit of a tech numpty and I'm a terrible typist too. So it obviously saves a lot of time, being able to just, flick your selections up so quickly. They're using Crowcaster as opposed to, typing out each individual horse and what have you. So I'll continue to use that.
Awesome. Well, there you go, punters, a bit of insight how to get those tips out quickly. And mate, look, just before we leave you, one piece of advice you can give to an up-and-coming form analyst or tipster, mate.
Oh, look, you hear it all the time, but I suppose you've got to trust your eye and trust your process. So one piece of advice I certainly would give is you can't be great everywhere. You're better off just focusing on one area or one jurisdiction, and that way you get to become very familiar with the horse population there, which over time certainly helps your results and profit on turnover, no doubt about that. And stay humble, I guess. Let your tips do the talking.
Yeah, love it, mate. That's awesome, and we'll give you a wrap when you need it anyway.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it.
Good stuff, mate. Look, thank you so much for joining us, mate. No doubt the good results will continue, and mate, all the best as you head into the spring.
No worries. Thanks, Michael.
So continuing with our series of How Do You Punt? Certainly, this is our third part to this, and this week we're focusing on speed maps. It's a term that has become ever more spoken on punters' lips. So we thought we'd take a bit of a dive in here, but most importantly, hand over to the punters at the end and get your comments on wherever you're watching this, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube, or wherever else it might get to. So I'm going to hand over to Mick Gannon. Mick Gannon, speed maps, are they any good? And if so, how do you use them?
Mate, interestingly enough, as we had Wayne Hawkes come out not so long ago and say speed maps are garbage, blah, blah, blah. Couldn't disagree more. I think speed maps, besides those raw data ratings, call it what you want, that are used, besides those, have to be the next biggest piece of the puzzle. Look, you just go back and look at Rosehill, my apologies, Randwick last Saturday, and you could see those inside three lanes. Look, arguably the first couple of races, it wasn't necessarily like lay down misère that it was inside, but it became apparent that those 1, 2, 3 lanes were the place to be. You didn't want to be too far back, blah, 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 right? So for mine, if you were drawn wide on a back marker there and you were the top rated horse, you may as well throw your ticket in the bin. You just can't make up 4, 5, 6, 7 lengths, from that position. So are speed maps important? 100% they are. Are they more important on a Saturday than what they are on a Monday? No. You know, I'm happy to bet in bloody Gilgandra if I can see something's going to lead. And to be honest, the lower class the race, the more I want to find a leader anyway.
Why is that, Mick? Why is that?
Oh, because look, the lower class horses are more one batters, right? They don't have a turn of foot. So, you know, they're pack animals and they'll just keep following each other. So, you know, if you're betting sort of in the country at provincial tracks, you know, finding something on pace that's okay, that rates on top, it's just a bet, right?
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Makes sense. Anything else there to tell us, mate?
Oh, absolutely. I think they are underplayed. I think track bias is something that people sort of say, oh, it doesn't exist, oh, blah, 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 blah. Look, historical data will tell you that their track bias does exist. There are so many variables as to why it does exist. Win can be one. Obviously, significant win. Anything over that 30, 40 Ks is where it starts to really be significant. You know, 40, 50, 60 Ks, then yeah, it's definitely in play. Rain and rail position for mine is significant. You know what I mean? So I think in New South Wales racing, the Sydney racing is it's more prevalent than it is anywhere else. I don't really bet too much in Brisbane, but you do hear about it up there a little bit. But definitely Sydney racing, it exists.
Yeah, okay, great. Look, I know you're big on ratings, Mick, and in terms of sort of coming up with your selections. You know, let's just talk about a race where you've got two horses, you've got one top rated, one rated somewhere down from it. But, you know, you look at the speed map and you see your top rated horse is really going to have a tough run. Maybe it's, you know, it's wide and on a course where it really has to either go to the sprint to the front, which is probably not ultimately used to, or has to pull back vis-a-vis something that's rated less than it. How do you marry all that up? So the whole speed map factors vis-a-vis the you know, the ratings that you do?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. So first of all, off that raw data, you would have a look at the speed map, think how's it going to suit, right? If it was a run, if it wasn't going to suit it, you're obviously going to penalize it a length or two, depending on how, you know, how it wasn't going to suit. If it was only going to go head to head with another runner from a wide barrier, look, I love backing horses with speed from wide barriers. If it's going to go head to head with another runner, I'm not too worried. If it's 3 or 4 on pace runners, then I'm going to probably penalize that a lot more. I don't have to bet. That's the reality of it. It's the same as that futures bet argument. You don't have to bet. So don't think not every race is a bet. And if you don't have to bet, you just don't bet if it doesn't suit your eye.
Okay, so just to summarize that quickly, it sounds like with your ratings, you're rating the horses and then you're applying penalties based on speed map factors.
Yeah.
And apart from that, if it just gets into the too risky basket, then you're just not going to have a bet in that race. Or if you have to have a go, chip down.
Exactly right. Yeah, if you want to have a bet, have a bet. If you're playing quaddies, etc., maybe go a bit wider.
Yeah, okay, great. Well, look, there we go. That's how Mick does it. I mean, how about you, punters? Tell us, speed maps, are they something you look at? Are they not something you look at, you don't care too much, an afterthought? Whatever it is, it's okay. We all bet differently. We'd love to hear it. Remember, Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook, wherever you're watching this, tell us how you punt, specifically this week, about speed maps.
Awesome. Love to hear it.
All right, so that brings us to the closeout of another show of Tipster. And of course, Mick, last week, She's Ideel got up nicely. And I think you got it all covered there, because certainly came in from the $3 quote that you started with. So you're on a roll, mate. Apart from flying on the leaderboard. There we go. So what is Mick's moral this week?
Mates, we've gone with All Saints Eve. Rosehill, race 6, number 7. Was $17. Snuck a little cheeky one out there to Twitter. It's not saying that's me. Let's be honest, it's someone else. But it's moved. It's now into 12s.
Go on, say it. Why not?
No, let's be honest, mate. Someone out there's plenty of people out there way smarter than me, mate. So I'm not going to take credit. But look, its best runs come at this setup, right? Dry 1500 meter Rosehill. Second up, it's 1, 2 from 3. I'm not big on the whole second up, first up stats, but it exists. But more importantly, career best run was at this setup. 53 kilos, King on board. Rachel's riding well, and mate, that's just too good a price to miss. I think it's started at $10 lining up against Saki in a Group 2. What do we got here? Group 3, I think. So, no, it's a Group 2 again. Another mare. Well done, Mike. Mick, well done, genius. But look, $10 against Zaki. There's no Zakis here, right? So at the $17, happy to have a big lash there. And I think it's probably going to start probably closer to $8 or $9. So still got plenty of juice left there.
Good. There we go. Sounds like some nice value on offer as we speak. So look, hey, there's Mick's Moral. There's another show, punters. Remember to subscribe to the channel on YouTube here. And look, hey, come to the Great Tip Off. If you rate yourself or you think you've got half a clue, come and put your tips at thegreattipoff.com. A couple of reasons why. You're going to see how you actually go against some of the biggest names in Australia. They're all there on the leaderboard. You name them, they'll be there. And so if you don't think, if you think they're great or whatever, and you want to see how you go, you can compare yourself. In the meanwhile, your tips will be up for sale. Sell your tips. We sell about, I think the average at the moment is about 80 to 100K of tips a month. So you can get amongst that. You also can be hot bet. If punters don't want to buy them, they could just back them, you earn. And of course, you go into the tipping competition once you tip 6 winners and have at least 30 tips in the month. So, and that's got $1,000 cash in the prize pool. So lots of reasons to come to thegreattipoff.com. Place your horse racing tips, your harness racing tips, your greyhound racing tips. The tip comp's only for horse racing at this stage, but lots of reasons to come to thegreattipoff.com. Another week over, Mick. Thanks again. Good punting on the weekend. I suspect Saturday, don't ring your phones off. You'll be punting.
No, mate, always up for a chat. But if I don't answer, I'll be cheering one home.
Yeah, no, look, it's exciting times. And look, there's some footy finals on as well. So it's all happening. The smell is in the air. This is the time. We just hope we can get to a track before it's all done. But that's not in our hands. We'll just talk about things we can control. Punters, all the best. Have a great weekend of punting. Have a great week. And Mick signing off.
Legend. Thanks, mate. Have a good week.
All right. See you guys.